What's up, everybody? Tom here, back at you with another video. We are going to actually farm the fates for the Trial of Chaos, just so I can save money. It's not that hard to farm the fates. What did I get? What came in?
Hail.
7 Exalt. Okay. Oh.
Have an order?
Every little bit. Okie dokie. So, let's see what Trial of Chaos I have. Where is it? Dumpster? 2 Exalted? Level 80. Perfect. Deadly. Well, let's go. By the way, I'm level 85. I'm just doing like a bunch of random stuff and just trying to make it work. I've got armor break on my main damage skill. I'm using a support gem on my main damage skill to do armor break, because I feel like you break their armor and then you can do a lot more damage sometimes. And probably more importantly, I'm using the Spirit Reservation skill that gives you increased armor when you break their armor and pick up the shards. So I'm just doing that to be a little bit more tanky. The problem is, if there's a boss that I can't break the armor on, I'll be what's the word for it? Squishy. Until I can break their armor. So I've got I wasn't planning on just spending my currency on just random bullshit the second I got it. But I was starting to struggle in like T14-ish with like abysses. And I saw this armor on the trade site for 1 divine. At the time that I bought this was the highest armor of anything on the trade site, and it was 1 divine. There was other stuff up there for like 8 divine and shit, but this actually had more armor than it, and it had chaos res, like not just chaos res, a decent amount of chaos res, 26 chaos res. So I had to get it. The reason that it was undervalued, and I realized this, is that it didn't have the greater iron runes in there, so it wasn't showing up in its armor rating in the searches. So I was like, oh shit! If I just put armor iron runes in there, it's gonna be crazy. And yeah, so this is actually the highest armor thing that at the moment that I bought it. I'm sure there's other stuff now, but that was on the site, and I got it for 1 div. So I think that was okay. I wonder if I go to 380. No, that's a different league. Is this thing insane? This is 300 div in standard. That doesn't make any sense. T1, T2, and then hybrid. T3. What the fuck? Somebody just sold this for 1 div to me. And what if I go into the normal league? The normal Fate of the Vol League. Okay, in the normal Fate of the Vol League, it's 3 div. So it's not like insane, but this might be the best armor piece in the game right now. Like the highest amount of armor than anything. Oh well. People don't know, but it's just little old me just sniped it off somebody that didn't realize because they didn't think of putting the greater iron runes in there. Oh man. Oh man, that is rough. That is rough. So that's part of the reason I'm not dead. The other thing is, even though this bow is low level, I need to farm more currency before I can replace this. I would have been able to replace it if I didn't buy this chest piece, but I thought this was like a once in a lifetime. So yeah, I basically just need to do the same fucking bow that I have here, but has a siege crossbow instead of a cannonade crossbow, and I'll be good to go. In fact, I should have a live search up for that. Here, I'm just gonna open up a fresh trade here. And then my idea for currency is I'm using it right now, but when I log off tonight, here it is. I'm gonna try to sell this for hope maybe somebody will buy it for 50 div. Who knows? I mean, I think it's pretty good, right? Cold and lightning as extra and critical damage bonus. I mean, it's a low roll in critical damage bonus, but hey, it's critical damage bonus. And, you know, +1 to max lightning res. I mean, that's good, right? I mean, that's just good. So, no dead stats. Two premium stats, low rolls, albeit, but still. So, it's low rolls, but they're all good rolls. That's the thing. So that's why I'm thinking maybe somebody will just buy that for 50 div. Then I'll be able to actually craft a bow, which will give me way more damage than this thing does. But for now, I don't want to not have it while I wait for it to sell. So I'm just going to try to sell it when I log off. So yeah, I'm using weapon swap points, and the reason is because the fucking the explosive shot, it doesn't benefit from any of the grenade shit, or any of the ballista shit. But the grenade shit and the ballista shit both benefit from grenades and ballistas. So I've been putting one weapon set on grenades and ballistas, and then the other weapon set I'm just doing the things that are on the way that I wouldn't normally take because they're not really good. But it doesn't matter because this is not really where my damage is coming from. This is more of just like an igniting thing. And so yeah, I mean you get all the grenade. I have all the grenade shit. Well, not all of it. Well, yeah, you know, obviously you're gonna get +1 cooldown use, extra projectile. Like obviously you got to take that. And then over here, reduce grenade detonation time. I mean, seems like a no-brainer, right? Wait a second. I should respec these. And then I just get extra green weapon set points, right?
Go on.
Wait a second.
We've all got regrets.
Nice. Are the Abyss monsters demons? I think the Abyss monsters are demons. One, two, three. Okay, wait a second. Yeah, I guess these are all pretty good, actually. Yeah. Let's just keep it simple. No need to rock the boat too much. One thing I've noticed is a pitfall that I can fall into sometimes is you try to change too much all at once, and then the thing that you go to is not really working. And then when you put it back together again, it's just not quite right. There's something a little bit off with it. If you make small adjustments and then only make the big changes when you really are sure what you want to do, you're setting yourself up for success. That's how I've cleared T15s this league the fastest I've ever done it, with my own build, not following a guide. So, believe it or not, that's where we're at. So, it only took 1,400 hours. So anyway, that's the build. I changed it up a little bit just now, a little bit of optimizing. So yeah, you use weapon set passives. So you just take generic damage on, that's all I'm doing. Generic damage on the second weapon set, and then on the main weapon set is all your grenades and ballista shit. So that's it. That's the build. Oh, I've got one ballista point right here. Yeah, that actually makes sense. That's fine. Okay. So let's go do Trial of the Chaos. I think it'll be good to farm this. Get the chaos nodes.
Where will your choices bring you this time?
I've never farmed this before. I've always just bought the the fates.
You won once. Do not get ahead of yourself.
All right, let's get good ones here. Let's get ones that don't brick me, okay? Buffs. I don't use a lot of buffs. The only buff I really use is War Banner. So that's what we're going for.
Time is your enemy. Your challenge awaits. Prove yourself.
I heard someone say a cool idea for a support gem. For grenades. I forget who it was that said this. It was on one of these podcasts where they talk about PoE. The idea was basically you have a support that's for grenade skills that says like, and the number is something you would have to figure out through testing. Something like if 10 of the grenades blow up at the same time, they all converge into one big explosion. Instead of doing a bunch of small explosions. Like you basically add all the explosions up and it's just one big fat explosion. And I thought that would be really, really cool. Because like I can get, and this build is not optimal. It's like I should definitely have at least 3 mortars by now. I only have 2 mortars right now. And it's just because, yeah, getting the mortars requires a fair bit of crafting and currency. It's also a smaller league. And, yeah, I haven't seen them on the trade site. But actually, it's not that bad. It's either like Amanamanu or Kurgle. But then it's also like you don't get a damage thing. So it's like, is it really worth it? I don't know. I need to figure something out. There's a Zizarin video about it. I need to just watch the Zizarin video and see how he gets more of these things out. Reduced life, mana, and energy shield recovery rate. Oh, that's not bad. Yep, that's what we're gonna do.
Your heart beats more slowly.
Okay.
Try this on for size.
We are only getting started. enemies constrict. Ravage and ransack.
Lather up!
I need a better life flask. Apparently I don't have any life leech. I need life leech.
One down. Who's next?
Okay. We're okay. Yeah, I just need better potions. That's easy to fix. I just gotta finish this run. But even with this lame-o health potion, we're doing alright.
This is just the beginning. Natural selection breeds the mightiest foes. Will this creature be your end?
You're done! No mana! I'm really taking to this place.
Okay. Fucked it up. But that's only the first round. We got fucking 10 rooms, I think, we gotta do here.
Impressive. Normally, challengers don't survive those.
Oh. It's all bad. It's got to be the resistances because this. Yeah.
Their skin
I don't
grows
like
stiff
having
and
to run
resilient.
around fucking volatiles.
Stem the tide.
But I don't want to get one shot by the boss either. Like I should be able to do these, but it's close right
All in
now.
a day's work. Need more mana. Stupid Sally! Make a wish!
I'm also starting to run into mana problems.
Out of mana!
That one was fun.
Halfway. Impressive.
It's got to be blood globules here. Those aren't too bad.
Coagulated masses befall you. Offer up their lives.
Out of mana!
I think you'll like this next one.
Well, blood globules 2 it is then.
Drown in a sanguine flood.
Alright, second boss. I'm pretty sure we have 3 bosses here, though. But we're getting there.
The Val engineered some of the
You're
fiercest
done!
creatures to ever exist.
No mana! Out of mana.
Excuse me. Where did you go, mister? Let's check this way first. Oh, whoa, those blood puddles do damage. Excuse me, sir. Where are you? Oh. Here we go. DPS, DPS. If you say DPS while it's happening, it actually increases your damage output. That's a scientific fact. They actually studied that over at Oxford University. Over in Cambridge,
Display
Massachusetts.
of might.
No, we're not doing volatiles. That's bullshit. Oof. I do have relatively high max hit, but... What's my fire res? It's capped, right? My fire res is capped. I have this. We're gonna go burning turrets.
Slay them
Oh, I'm gonna
amongst the
regret this.
flames.
You can't go volatiles because every single fucking monster releases a volatile when it dies. Oh boy.
Out of mana. Need more mana.
Oh,
Shouldn't
oh!
have picked that.
I was standing still, that's why I died. Fuck! think you can make money rolling these bows. Oh, I don't have a divine. Wait, how much? How much is another trial? They only cost 1 exalted. I'll try again.
Yes?
Yeah, I have no money right now. I could get immune to bleeding if I get a different helmet. That would make this a lot easier.
Can I help? Let's see if that piques any interest.
Just need an armor helmet. But I need the dex, the lightning res, and the life from this. Rog.
Glad to see you. Don't eat the mushroom. let's deal.
Wait.
Here for a deal? You want the premium deals, I see.
258.
You want the premium deals, I see. A bit more stock? A bit more stock? There's a bit of a straggler on this one, eh? Allow me to take my ruined hammer to this thing's tail end. Can't get any worse, right? Back end could do with a bit of refurbishing. I could refurbish the front a bit. I have a feeling that if I hammer on this thing's front end, I could knock some of its attributes about a bit. Something quite interesting happens when you apply a drop of gold. There's potential in this one. I think we can do better if we start fresh on the front. I could refurbish the front a bit. This piece could hold another attribute if you like.
What's new? Hail. Have an order? Thanks for the chat.
The challenger returns. I hope your next attempt will be more favorable. Their indomitable spirit protects them. Are you ready, challenger?
Try this on for size! No mana!
This is just a warm-up.
can I help? I'll fill that in as soon as I can. Let's see if there are any takers.
Fight the slowing of your own heart. Stem the tide.
That Dragon Ball Z beam cannon is no joke. You gotta fucking dodge out of that ASAP.
This is just a warm-up. They strike with dark intent.
I have some chaos res. It's not capped, but I have 42.
Ravage and ransack.
Bye bye! Out of mana! Foul fool!
This is just a warm-up. Coagulated masses befall you. The Vaal engineered some of the fiercest creatures to ever exist.
Need more time!
Impressive. Normally, challengers don't survive those. Death spreads within your veins. Stem the tide.
All in a day's work. Stupid Selleck!
almost there. Keep it up, Mortar. Drown in a sanguine flood. May their blood fuel your progress.
Foul fool!
I think you'll like this next one. Their skin grows stiff and resilient.
What in
Chaos
damnation
will
is
bring
that?
you to your end.
Reload! Need more mana! No mana! No mana. Out of mana! Strange beast. It dies just the same though, doesn't it?
A true display of might. Don't stare too closely. Live.
Need more mana!
Not many make it this far, mortal. A drought for the thirsty. Don't fall behind.
Slick! No mana. Stupid salad!
May your next attempt prove more fruitful.
Have an order?
thought I had more currency than this. That's why I'm confused right now. I must have spent it on some shit.
Oh, it's you. Hail. All right, your order is registered.
No, 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 no. That was bad. That was fucking bad. I need the mana leech.
Yes? I'll post it right away.
I shall return.
recycling into a thought. But that does not mean I have to drink with him. He pushed back. Should be out this week, and Hota 3 should be out this week, if people are wondering. But it's just my voice. While I was on vacation, I think I had like, I was sick the whole time. I think it was like the flu, but even though I had my flu shot, and my voice is just pretty much gone. So I've been trying to I recorded like half of the Hota chapter, but I don't even know.
Where will your choices bring you this time?
So yeah, let's see. Anyway, last time we talked about the long prologue, and again, if you guys didn't tune in last time, the long prologue was
improve your chances of victory.
George wrote the prologue of A Feast for Crows fairly late in the game when it comes to A Feast for Crows, because originally he had this idea of the mega prologue, which was all of these different point of view chapters, the Ironborn and the Dornish, and what they were going to be doing in the 5 years, in the 5 year gap went away. He still had this idea of the mega prologue. Then the mega prologue just got put into the main text, and so he was having a real tough time with it. But we got this original long prologue that he read about the first 40% last time, and it's got a lot of interesting aspects to it. And so let's continue on George's original long prologue. Again, it's called the long prologue because we've got a short prologue, long prologue, and the rosy prologue. The short prologue is really not worth mentioning. It's just the long prologue chopped a little. And then the rosy prologue has some stuff in it, but it's from Rosie's point of view. But the long prologue has the most. So when we were last there, we're just about where the acolytes kind of leave Pate in the long prologue. It's the name of the bar is the Three-Legged Boar. And so they're talking about Marwan the Mage. Archmaester Rhyme had named him, mocking the name that spread all over Old Town to Rhyme's vast annoyance. Will the Seneschal call the conclave? Rune asked. What, to talk of dragons a half a world away? Lazy Leo laughed. Don't be daft. You sound as stupid as the pig boy. I always thought this was kind of interesting. Well, I mean, I should read more before going and analyzing each thing. But the calling of the conclave, which is in the text now, we just know the conclave as being the collection of archmaesters, and the archmaesters live at the citadel. So the conclave, calling it is nothing. Like, calling it is just like having a meeting with senior staff, right? Like, it's not a big thing. It's not a big deal. But I do wonder if this might have meant something else, because originally when George wrote a Clash of Kings, he had this idea that all of the maesters, all of them, were returning to Old Town for some reason. In the original, like, the glass candles all turn on, and the maesters all disappear and head to Old Town for an emergency meeting. The only remnants that's left of this in the text is that when Theon gets to Pike, he's like, "Where's the maester?" And they're like, "The maester's gone." And that's still in the Clash of Kings text, but nothing else is. The plot of the glass candle, like each maester having a glass candle, and all of them returning, was abandoned. In this, each archmaester has a glass candle, though that's later abandoned, and the number of glass candles is reduced to like 4. Anyway, so I do wonder if like this calling of the conclave really meant like calling all of the maesters back, because having a senior staff meeting is nothing. Like, for Lazy Leo to mock Rune for being like, oh, do you think the archmaesters are going to have a meeting? And him being like, what? Why? Like, shouldn't they just be having meetings because it's Monday or something, you know? Like, so I do wonder if this was like a remnant of maybe the
Don't give up
conclave
so
meant like
early.
call all of the maesters back. But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, either way, it was cut either way. Maybe George also thought that this line was stupid. Anyway, I do not dare knock Leo's teeth out, Pete thought.
Infects the
But
blood.
that does not mean I have to drink with him. He pushed back from the table. Dragons or no dragons, he announced. Walgrave will need his privy. I'm going. I'll go with you. The Sphinx got to his feet
Billy
and
John
tossed down a
Retrieve.
star for the serving wench. Maribald followed, still grumbling about another ale. Then Armin stood and ruined. All of you, Leo stretched out his legs. Well, Rosie will remain. Perhaps I'll wake her up and make a woman of her. Alaras caught Pate by the arm. He doesn't have a copper for a tankard. He cannot have a dragon for a beef. They left him and made their way across the old stone bridge that joined the three-legged boar to the east bank of the Honey Line. Maribald was so drunk he had to walk with one hand on Ian's shoulder, dragging his club foot as he went. The night had been damp and cobblestones were slippery underfoot. Pale mist rose off the river, shrouding the city in mystery. The citadel was no great distance as the raven flies, but none of them were ravens. When I am a maester in a castle, I will have a horse to ride, Pate thought. Then he tripped upon a cobblestone and wondered who he was fooling. Alaras would surely be a maester. Armin too, though it would take him longer. Maribald and Rune might even wear a chain one day if they persisted, but him, all of them are better born than me and richer, he thought. It's not fair that they should all be cleverer as well. Now in the original, Pate stays behind, and some of this slippery aspects of the cobblestones of Old Town stays obviously for Pate's eventual death in the final one. But it's interesting that here he leaves and we get a little tour of Old Town that some of it makes it into the Sam chapter, but for the most part this information is all cut, though some of it appears in the World of Ice and Fire. We'll get to that. The eastern sky turned pink. A butcher's cart rumbled up the river road, 4 piglets in the back squealing in distress. Pate danced from its path and barely avoided being splattered as a townsman emptied a pail of night soil from a window. Maribald, less nimble, cursed her loudly. When the sun broke through the clouds to the east, bells began to peal from the sailors set down by the harbor. It's funny, he probably, these little mistakes that George probably wouldn't be describing the eastern sky twice. But this is an early draft. The Lord stepped halfway up the house. When the suns broke, the bells began to peal from the sailor's sept down by the harbor. The Lord stepped halfway up the high tower, and the starry sept that had been home to their high septon until the reign of Baelor the Blessed. Soon the 7 shrines joined the chorus from the honey wine. The bells made mighty music, though not so sweet as the song of a lonely nightingale. Thought Page.
wipe
The
that
nightingale
smile
thing
off
was
your face.
completely cut, because we're already dealing with calling ravens and everything. But we get all this geography of Old Town that is put in the World of Ice and Fire, but completely cut. Like the Lord's Sept, being on the high tower and stuff like that. As the mists burned away, the domes and towers of the citadel emerged from the gloom, and beside them the black marble splendor of the starry sept. But citadel and sept were no more than children's toys compared to what rose behind them. The lofty high tower looming over Old Town from the top of Battle Hill. I guess it's called... They changed this to Battle Island? Battle Hill. 3 castles piped one on top of the other. Then a sept, 2 drum towers, a watchtower, and a beacon was how Alaras described it. Again, this is in the World of Ice and Fire, but fascinating to read it in the story. The base of the high tower was a colossal square of fused black stone with walls 50 feet thick and 100 feet high. Marwyn the Mage had claimed it had been the remains of an ancient Valyrian fortress. Archmaester Periston said that the giants had raised it. The small folk named Bran the Builder, a second keep atop the first, its gray granite walls supported by massive buttresses. The third tier was another of the same, smaller still. The fourth was the Lord's Sept, a seven-sided temple of green marble with windows of leaded glass. The upper tiers were cylindrical. Atop them, 800 feet above the river blazed the iron beacon guided seafarers up whispering sound. I remember when The World of Ice and Fire came out, people talking about all of the black oily stones and the black stones on Battle Island and things like that. All this stuff that George had actually written a long time ago, and just kind of sat and then was handed over for that. When Pate first came to Old Town, the sight of the high tower lifting its lamp against the clouds of dawn thrilled him to his bones. No longer. It looks like a sword so big it would take a god to wield it. Lazy Leo was no god, but a Tyrell was the next best thing. Leo's purse might be flat just now, but soon it would grow fat again. This is funny. So George is very big on one sentence leading to the other. Like you are on a stream of consciousness. You are going from A to B, B to C, and so here he's looking at the old town and he's looking at the high tower and he's thinking that it looks like a sword that a god can carry. Lazy Leo was no god. To bring him back to Rosie, like it's very clunky, which is you can tell why George deleted this and didn't have it, but it's just like, oh, the old town looks like a sword that a god would be carrying. Well, Lazy Leo's no god, but he might buy Rosie. You know, like you could see his attempt at the flow, which is why he changed. You know, but it's clumsy, so he changed it. George is so focused on does A flow to B, does B flow to C, does C flow to D. Within a paragraph. I should take Rosie off and marry her. Vinegar Valen had denied him his bronze link and Ebros his silver. He would never be a maester. I could be a husband, though. I could have a wife as lovely as the queen. If I had a golden dragon. Head down, we followed Armin and Eleras past the great sphinxes and into the heart of the citadel of Old Town. Rune and Arlen left them by Healer's Hall to hear Ebros speak on urine. Maribald decided he was for a cell. Laras was the last part from hate. You need to hide your wounds better, or Leo will keep stabbing you. I thought it was late at night. Ebros speaking at... I mean, this is obviously like... George probably recognized these mistakes too, but like... They were supposed to be coming home to get a good night's sleep because the next morning Ebros was going to have a lecture on urine. But here, he leaves them at Healer's Hall to speak on urine. Like, at that moment. Clearly, like, George is making a mistake here on the time. But, of course, he catches it later and fixes it. You need to hide your wounds better or Leo will keep stabbing you, the Sphinx said. As they stood beneath the statue of King Daron I outside of the war hall. He'll never waste a dragon on a maiden when he could just soon gamble away. He says it just to make you bleed. Above them, King Daron sat astride his huge stone horse, his sword lifted towards Dorne. A seagull was perched on young Daron's head, and two more on the blade. If saying it makes me bleed, doing it will make me bleed worse, Pate said. Walgrave will awaken soon. I must go. When you're done with him, I mean, is it so late that... I guess it's so late they're not sleeping through the night. Maybe that's it. It's like in college when you stay up through the night. You go to an 8 o'clock lecture, or something because it's 4 or something. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Above, when you're done with him. When you're done with him, come join me at the archery butts. Alaris owned a longbow taller than he was, made from the golden wood of the Summer Islands. Summer Isles. He shot
Understandable if you're a
for
little
2 hours
tired,
every day.
but the
We'll loose some
trial
shafts and
yet
pretend the
continues.
bales are lazy Leo. I will, Pate
Always
lied.
strikes twice.
All he could think about was Rosie. He wondered if he had enough silver to get a mule for them. Once he brought her once he bought her from her mother, they would live free, wandering the roads and sleeping under the hedges. Ebros might not think him worthy of the silver, but he could set a bone and
All in a day's
reach a fever. You did not need a chain around your neck to heal the wounded and afflicted. The small folk would be grateful for his knowledge. And if they aren't well, I still have Rosie. It's interesting here as well that the idea that the golden dragon is supposed to be for her maidenhead, but here it's like you've got this idea that if he buys her, he gets her as a wife too, rather than her just continuing on as a sex worker. This is also kind of deleted idea, but an interesting concept. I mean, I've been in a lot of third world countries where I've run into lots of sex workers and sex tourists, and there was a practice of like if you bought a sex worker for a couple nights in a row, she was just your girlfriend. And so I would see like sex tourists with like the same girl, and you know they're just like, well, you know, they bought her a couple times and then she just hangs out with them. You know, you're like, so I guess it's something like that. Anyway, it's The citadel had woken at first light. Townsfolk were gathered by Scribes' Hall, waiting their turn to have a letter read and written.
Could hardly call
Nearby,
that a
some
challenge.
cook's boys waited in the shallows of the honey line gathering frogs. Vinegar Valen, Maester
Finds your enemy.
Orwain, and 3 acolytes descended the wooden steps of the observatory. A stream of novices, some as young as 7, hurried towards the commons to break their fast. There's so much more here on the geography of the citadel and like what's at the citadel. Beside the door, 3 rectors were locking the novice in the stocks. Caught stealing food from the kitchens, one called. When he saw Pate looking, the sun shimmered off the golden dome of the conclave and the glass roof of the winter gardens, and the wooden vanes of the maester's mill creaking as they turned. Archmaester Castos waddled by in a honey-colored robe the size of a pavilion, arguing heatedly with Archmaester Periston. The hog and the stork, Pate thought. Neither one would see a novice unless he tripped over him. This is again the menagerie aspect. I was very curious, like when you read the appendices of A Feast for Crows, you get this description of all of these different archmaesters and what color mask and rod they have. And I always thought it was funny because hardly any of them actually appear in the story, or even talked about. But in this long prologue, they do. So you hear about people like Archmaester Castos, you know, the hog and the stork. At the Weeping Dock, 2 solemn acolytes helped an old man into a boat, then a mother with babe in arms. Whether any of them would return from Bloody Isle, only gods would know. Yeah, this line made it, stayed in. About this like trip to Bloody Isle. I wonder if I think this makes it into the Sam chapter. Transfers this one to the Sam chapter because a lot of people wonder who this mother and babe are, and they talked about it, but that made it into the Sam chapter, I think. Pate did not need a boat to reach the Isle of Ravens. A drawbridge linked it to the bank. The Ravenry was the oldest building of the citadel, the seed from which the rest had grown. Once it had been a castle, the grim island stronghold of some forgotten lord. Moss and creeping vines
hardly
covered its
call
walls
that a
now.
challenge.
However, ravens walked its battlements in place of archers. The drawbridge had not been raised in living memory. This I thought about when
Strikes at your
writing
heart.
in the fanfic when we wrote the the Fool chapter about how they raised the drawbridge, and then Sam and everybody has to like call,
Don't
like
stare
scream
for
and
too
have them
long.
lower the bridge again.
Breathe this in!
It was cool and dim inside the castle walls. An ancient weirwood filled the yard, as it had since these stones had first been raised. The carved face of his trunk was grown over by the same purple moss that hung heavy from the trunk. Half of the branches seemed dead, but elsewhere a few red leaves still rustled, and it was there the ravens liked to perch. The tree was full of them, and there were more in the arched windows overhead, all around the yard. The ground was speckled by their droppings. As Pate crossed the yard, one flapped overhead, and heard the others
Impressive.
quirking to each
Normally,
other. He opened the
challengers
door
don't
to the north
survive
tower and
those.
began to climb. Walgrave was awake, shuffling barefoot across the bedchamber towards his privy. One of the white ravens was preening itself on his bedpost, another at the open window. "Pate!" they shrieked when he entered. "Pate, Pate!" The clamor made Walgrave turn. "There you are! Help me to the privy, if you'd be so good. I must needs more of my bowels." Yeah, so we actually meet Walgrave. It's not just like memories. Pate, you know, he's there. For half a heartbeat, Pate feared this might be one of Archmaester's more lucid days, but it soon became apparent that was not the case. Walgrave seemed to think his name was Crescent. That made it in. But I think this is all in flashback in the final. Some old friends of his from when he was an acolyte. Once the old man was ensconced upon his privy, Pate let him be. Moving the Archmaester's bowels was a glacial process. There's glaciers in Westeros, I guess. At least they have the study of them. Walgrave kept his valuables in a strong box. The valuables. This is great. I did a whole thing on this. Wasn't well viewed. Walgrave kept his valuables in a strong box underneath his bed. He had to get down on his knees to fish it out. The box was stoutly made and bound with iron, but its lock was broken. That lock had been the reason Maester Gorman suspected Pate of theft, but it wasn't true. Archmaester Walgrave had broken the lock himself after losing the key that opened it. Inside were the old man's meager treasures. And these are pretty much the same. Bag of silver stags, the lock of yellow hair tied up with a ribbon, faded miniature of an old woman who resembled nothing so much as Walgrave with teeth. I think they... Yeah, but I think he adds like
Escort the idol.
I think it's the Walgrave with teeth taken out, and instead it's just like a woman with big ears or something. That's all.
Lather up!
Painted miniature. Oh, painted miniature of a woman resembling Walgrave, even to her mustache, is what makes it good. And a knight's gauntlet made of lobster steel and shaped with gold. The gauntlet belonged to a prince. Walgrave claimed he could not recall which one. And then, you know, in the original, he finds the key in here. Oh yes, here it is. It's here too. It's just that the paragraphs are different here. Pate took the gauntlet and upended it. A key fell out of on the floor. If I picked that up, I'm a thief, he thought. The key was old and ornate, made of black iron. All the archmaesters had one. The others kept theirs upon their person and put it in a safe place, But if Walgrave had put his in a safe place, no one would ever see it again. Strongbox key was in a safe place. Pate did not doubt. Do I want to do this? Oh, I see the joke here. He says, if you put it in a safe place, Walgrave would never see it again. The Strongbox key was in a safe place. Thus, he's never going to see it again. He's forgotten it. That's the... So, I could see... I mean, I see why George cut this line. It's, you know,
Now, this
it's
is starting
clever.
to get fun.
What George is writing is clever, but it doesn't flow. You know, all of this I understand, yeah. The dragon begs you to reconsider, the hooded man had said.
The dead
And so,
chase after you.
in the long prologue, the alchemist is called the hooded man. Not to be confused with the hooded man of Winterfell. The dragon begs you to reconsider, the hooded man had said, flashing his coin. On one side was a three-headed dragon. On the other, the king's head. He made the dragon walk across his knuckles. Gold for glass, thought Pete. He won't do better. Do you want her? Do you love her?
Need more mana.
Gold for iron is what we get, and thus the alchemist thing. So, this is just gold for glass.
Ladder up.
Because we're talking about glass. He snatched up the key. He was halfway to the door when he thought again, went back, and took the silver too. A thief was a thief, whether he stole a little or a lot. Pate, one of the white ravens, called after him. Pate, Pate, Pate. From his own cell, he took the meager store of coins he put aside for Rosie, and the lantern he used to light the Vulgar's way by
Need more
night.
mana.
The library was a large, and then he's not giving the key to Jock and Agar. He is giving the object himself. The library was the largest building in the citadel. All of stone it was, inside and out. Earlier library made of wood had burned, and many precious books had been lost. Grotesques lined
Need more mana.
its parapets, no two alike. Each was more hideous than the last, and every one had a book or a scroll in hand. The library boasted 7 towers in honor of the 7 gods. More turrets and oriels than anyone could hope to count. A large upper story bay with a window supported by brackets and corbels. Who knew an oriel? Jordan never just used that nice and fire. So he cuts it. Archmaester Malos was coming out as Pate was going in. The small gray man that Lazy Leo called the mouse. Again, this menagerie thing. You know, the menagerie is still mentioned, but we don't have any details. All this details of the menagerie here. He did look like he did look a little mouse-like as he scurried down the steps. Malos was famed for giving lectures in so soft a voice that no one heard a word of them. He nodded to Pate as he passed. His eyes were so bad.
Long have I
Accolades to
awaited.
read to him.
Chaos is watching.
And he had once been heard to say it was better to nod to a beggar than risk giving offense to a
Time
lord.
for the reward.
The cavernous entry hall was one of the wonders of the citadel, with its marble floors, tall fluted pillars, and dome of leaded glass. But Pate passed through it quickly and sought the nearest stair. Down in the vaults, the air was cool and dim. Pate stopped and lit his lantern. Be quick, he told himself. Go in and take the candle and get out. You've gone too far for second thoughts. Remember Rosie. Remember Leo. It's amazing how much, you know, just environment, geography, people of the Citadel that George wrote
I have
and
a
then just
fire.
cut because it wasn't working, you know?
What's new?
It's amazing, which is why, I mean, it's funny because I had that thought, like when I read
What's new?
the appendices, I'm just like, wow, there's so much detail here on all of these people. And then when the World of Ice and Fire came out, there's a lot of detail on what the Citadel is like. And it just comes from this. Yet when he found himself standing before the great bronze face at the bottom of the steps, he was trembling. The face was beardless. Its hair, oh, this is the fascinating thing. So now he has gone into the library, the cavernous entrance hall. He found himself standing before the faces of the seven here. The face was beardless, its hair covered by a hood, which led some to say that it was meant to be a woman. The mother, perhaps, or the crone. The crone was always pictured with a lantern, though, and the only lantern here was his. Pate set it down, took out Walgrave's key, and thrust it into the face's open mouth. Oh, this is fascinating. Okay, he thinks it's the seven. It's not. It's a gate. It's a parallel to the Black Gate. So in so many ways here, okay, like the werewood net and north of the wall is parallel to the citadel. And originally George had even desired to have it more of a parallel, considering that like he originally wanted the glass candles to give each of the holders eternal life, much like you get eternal life in the werewood net. But here he comes to the citadel and he's going down into the basement, and there is a large... He comes to a great bronze face at the bottom of the steps. So this is exactly the same as Bran coming down the well and finding the big werewood face. The face was beardless, its hair covered by a hood, which led to some to say it was a woman. The mother had perhaps with a crone. The crone was always pictured with a lantern, but the only lantern was his. So they're saying that it's probably not the seven. It's just a big, like, hooded face. He's not sure what it is. Pate set it down, put out Walgrave's key, and thrust it into the face's open mouth. So he's opening this like mouth gate, just like the Black Gate. He had to put his arms in almost to the elbow before the key found purchase. In and out, he thought. In and out. Take what you need. In and out. In and out. In and out for Rosie. He turned the key until he heard a click, withdrew his hand, and gave the door a push. And then he makes to something. Yes. Within the ring of wisdom, all was darkness. Pate raised his lantern high. The chamber was 21 feet across and round. Here every place was a place of honor, the archmaesters like to say, for knowledge makes all men equals, and learning had no beginning and no end. Pate's footsteps echoed faintly in the empty chamber. The light of his lantern shimmered off a polished wood floor made from spokes of 1 in 20 kinds of wood. Cedar and spruce, pine and alder, mountain ash and Dornish yew, black oak, white oak, red oak, hickory and hornbeam, redwood from the reach, werewood from the wall, walnut, butternut and pecan, red maple, teak and ebony, and golden heart from the summer isles, mahogany from the steamy shores of Sotheros. During his last visit, he had spent a deal of time staring at the floor, fumbling for answers that never came. This time I have the answer, though. So it's like all of the different types of wood, just like all the different types of metals. So we're, you know, we have this parallel here, but what does it mean? You know, like nature being replaced by man. I don't know. I don't know. But obviously George cut all this. He raised his lantern up above his head, over the place where the wooden spokes met like slices of some great pie. Hung an ornate oil lamp of gold and leaded glass, wrought in the shape of a sun. It was less enlightened. It was less enlightened, meant to be enlightenment. But Pate had never felt than when he stood beneath it. I don't know what's this sentence. It was less enlightened. I don't know what that means. I don't know if it's I have to go back. The Ring of Thrones was back against the wall, half hidden in the shadows. They were thrones to him, at least. The archmaesters called them chairs. Each chair was wrought in the same wood as the spoke in which it stood. Each was elaborately carved, no two alike, and each had a metal mask hanging from the wall above it. So the wood does have corresponding metals to it. The masks did not interest Pate, and this is why when you're in the appendices and they talk about the masks and the rods, like, this is the reason, because of this long prologue. The mask did not interest Pate. It was the candles he'd come for, the tall glass candles that stood in the iron holders at each right hand of each and every throne. So each archmaester has a glass candle originally, down from every maester, every archmaester to 4. They were 3 feet tall and slender as a dirk, rigid and twisted, glittering black in the light of the lantern. I will take Valen's candle. In the tales of Spotted Pate, the pig boy always paid back insults. The bronze mask, he told himself. He wears the bronze mask. But the masks were hung well above his head, and in the dim light he could not tell one metal from the other. In the end, Pate chose one of the glass candles almost at random, and eased gingerly from its ornate iron candle holder. It was said the glass candles had been brought here from Valyria 1,000 years ago, before the Doom. From base to wick they were obsidian, black, brittle, shiny. Dragon glass, the small folk called it. Had the dragons made it before they all died out? Pate was not certain. He had never understood about the glass candles. What was a glass candle that did not burn? Armin the Acolyte had once explained it to them. The glass candles were a lesson, he said,
I have no idea.
as fraught with meaning as the chain of many metals that a maester wore about his neck. The night before he donned that chain, every would-be maester was locked into this chamber as the sun was going down.